Right then, it's time for the prep to start on the mighty Indian Scout as we get ready for a little bit of summertime touring this year. We've got a whole mini-series in the making, ranging from things like bike protection to installing luggage, various accessories for the Scout as well. All of that's coming up very soon on the Wildlife Moto channel, so don't forget to hit subscribe to catch those videos when they drop. But first up, this video is all about installing a little bit of wind protection. So let's do it. So the Indian Scout being a bike that kind of naturally puts you in this somewhat fixed upright riding position really could benefit from a little bit of wind protection, especially for some of those longer schleps up the motorway and your high speed stuff, all of that. And my go-to people for such things are a British company called Dart. Not only do they produce really good quality parts, they're also a super friendly bunch. So if you've got any questions, highly recommend you get in touch with those guys. Go check out their website. I'll put links in the description below. I've already got their screens installed on my Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. So I was super delighted to discover that they also have offerings for our Indian Scouts as well. Now, these Flyscreens come in three main designs, the smallest one being called the Piranha. It's an absolutely fantastic addition to modern classic motorbikes like my 650 Interceptor, but in my personal opinion, I reckon it's going to be a little bit on the small side for the mass that is the Indian Scout. So in this video, I'm going to be installing both the medium-sized Dart Classic and its super-sized big brother for maximum protection, the Dart Marlin. I also want to give you guys a look at both the tinted versions of these screens and also the clear versions as well, so you can decide what one you think looks best. Now, if you are familiar with the Dart screen designs, you'll know that the actual shapes themselves remain the same regardless of the bike. The main difference between all of the different kits you see on the website actually comes down to the hardware that you get to mount the screens, which from Dart is always really good quality. And I just like the way that it's thoughtfully designed. You know, they don't just make a universal kit and expect that to work on every different bike. They really think about how it's going to integrate with the bike, and all of their mounting solutions are slightly different as a result. Now, it's worth noting that the hardware for the Marlin is going to be a little different to the hardware for the classic screen. On the Marlin, you get bigger brackets to accommodate its larger size. So you're just going to need to make your mind up in terms of what screen size you want to order. And just bear in mind that if you do change your mind and want to get something bigger, you are going to need to order the full kit with all the hardware to accommodate that change. Now, in the case of the Indian Scout, the full kit includes a screen of your choice and all of the bike-specific hardware for the installation. It is a fork-mounted assembly, making use of these ballistic nylon clamps, which are bolted onto the top section of the fork stanchion just underneath the yoke. This should give you a secure fit with plenty of adjustability on the bike as well, but we'll get into that a little bit more. We also have these black powder-coated steel brackets which hold the screen in place. You get these black anodized mounting plates and all of the different bolts, washers and grommets that you're going to need to get you through this installation. Speaking of which, it is stupidly easy to install this on your bike. Now, you do get instructions in the box. They are pretty basic, but having said that, I think most people probably won't even need to look at them to figure this out. And the tools as well that you need are also super simple. In my case, I'll just be using my SBV hex kit, and that's pretty much it. I did the classic installation first, which uses the slightly smaller brackets, and I started out by pre-assembling these plus mount fixings, connecting it to one half of the fork bracket like this. It's then held in place with that anodized mounting disc and the supplied chamfered Allen bolt. I simply pre-assembled both the left hand and right hand brackets before going ahead and securing them onto the bike. And then it was just simply a case of using the other half of the fork bracket and the 2 supplied hex bolts to loosely secure the bracket to the fork. At this stage, you're going to want to make a note of the orientation of the brackets with the holes for the screen on the inside, closest to the headlight. And secondly, just keep everything loose at this stage because you are going to definitely want to make a few fine adjustments in a second. So once I'd installed the second bracket on the opposite fork, then I just offered up the screen, ensuring that all 4 of the holes roughly line up. Now, they might not be bang on at this stage, but if they're quite a way off, you're probably going to need to double check the orientation of your brackets. That's really about the only thing that could go wrong. As long as your brackets and your screen align, you're good to go ahead and bolt up the windscreen to the brackets. And then you can go ahead and finesse the exact positioning of the screen on the forks ahead of going ahead and tightening everything up. I'll probably adjust this a little bit more over time once I get out on the road and get a feel for how it's behaving in the wind. I may decide to move it slightly higher or slightly lower. That's really easy to do. But for now, you just want to make sure that everything is roughly where you want it to be and well tightened up so it doesn't go anywhere. Now, this screen we've got here is the tinted classic screen, and I think personally it looks absolutely fantastic on the Scout. It gives the bike a really nice sleek look. I just think it kind of finishes it off quite nicely, and I'm sure it will offer a decent amount of wind deflection as well. And here is a quick look at the clear version of this screen, giving you an even more minimalistic stripped back look. For me personally, I think I possibly prefer the tinted look, but I know a lot of people have an allergic reaction to dark screens and prefer the clear version. So if that's more your thing, this might be the one to go for. So next up, I want to show you guys the ultimate screen from Dart. This is called the Marlin. This is the big bad boy, the one that's going to offer you the most wind protection out on the road. Now, I'm not usually a massive fan of big touring screens. You know, some of them can look pretty ugly, but I think this one might just strike a nice balance between looks and the ability to push enough wind out of the way for longer trips. So this one may well be the option that I go for on some of those longer trips when I know I'm definitely going to be hitting up some bigger, faster roads. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that the proportions of the Indian Scout might just play in this screen's favour. So let's have a look at it. Now, this time I decided to fully assemble the screen before I put it on the bike. So by that I mean I put together the plus mounts just like I did on the Classic, but I also went ahead and I bolted all the brackets to the screen so that it's kind of one big unit ready to get on the bike. And I've got to say, having done it both ways, this one is definitely easier because you've got a single unit. You can then just offer the whole thing up to the bike. You can push it onto the fork stanchions, and all you need to do once you've kind of positioned it where you want it to be is grab the other half of the fork brackets and go ahead and using those 4 Allen bolts, you can just cinch it up onto the bike. Again, I started out slightly loose, just kind of left it in position, giving me enough flex to be able to slide it up and down the stanchions until I had it in that sweet spot, and went ahead and cinched it all down so that it's not going anywhere. And again, it will probably get tweaked and refined over time so I can figure out the very best place to have this screen on the forks. At the moment, it sits kind of just below my eye line, making for a pretty uninterrupted clean look of the road ahead. This is the dark version, the tinted version of this screen, and I've also got a clear version of this as well. So if you wanted to have it a little bit higher up so that it might be in your eye line, you know, the clear version may be the slightly less intrusive one to go for, but I just think this tinted screen looks absolutely fantastic up on the Indian Scouts. I was kind of right about the proportions. It definitely blends in quite nicely. It doesn't look like a big, ugly, cumbersome touring screen. And looking at the shape of it, it's got a wonderful kind of curve that should hopefully blast enough air up over your lid to take a little bit of pressure off the chest, a little bit of pressure off the shoulders, and hopefully should, you know, clear your face and get it up over the top of your helmet, giving you a much more comfortable ride when you're cruising at speed. Now, I've got a week-long tour planned for the next couple of days where I will be road testing these screens. I'm going to take them out on all different types of roads, see how I get on, and I will be sure to get a video up on the channel talking about my findings once I've given them a proper test out. But for now, from an aesthetic standpoint, I'm super happy with the way these look. I've got the classic for a little bit of more low speed cruising in and around town. If I want to go and do a bit of faster touring, the Marlin's going to step in to offer the ultimate wind protection. And for me personally, I'm definitely loving these tinted versions of these screens. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And of course, if you've got any questions on installing this onto your bike, I've been there, I've done it, so I'm very happy to help you out in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos on the Indian Scout and the other bikes in my garage very soon. And until the next one, ride safe.